You know, we all have that friend, right? The one who's just obsessed with their protein intake. We're talking shakes, bars, powders. It's a huge, multi-billion-dollar industry built on one really simple idea. If you want to build and maintain muscle, more protein is always better. But what if, for some of the most vulnerable people, that common wisdom isn't just wrong, but it's actually dangerous? Well, that's the paradox we're going to unravel today.
So this is the big question. Is more always better? We're going to follow the evidence all the way from healthy older adults to critically ill patients, and we're going to see if that mountain of protein we're told to consume is actually doing what we think it is.
All right, so to really get this paradox, we have to start with the promise. Why are we so focused on protein, especially as we get older? Well, it's all about fighting back against a condition that honestly affects millions. And here's the enemy. It's called sarcopenia. It's that slow, kind of sneaky, involuntary loss of muscle that happens as we age. It makes us weaker, more frail. And for decades, the #1 weapon we thought we had against it was protein.
And listen, this isn't just some hunch from the fitness world. Nope, this is a widely accepted recommendation from expert groups, like the Protige Study Group. They actually advise that older adults should eat a lot more protein than younger people, all to hang on to that precious muscle. So that's our starting point. This is the established science.
But this is where the story starts to get really interesting. When scientists looked a little closer at what happens with healthy older adults, living their lives at home, a little surprise popped up in the data. Okay, so a massive review in 2024 confirmed that, protein supplements do help build muscle in older adults. But, and this is a huge but, it didn't really seem to matter how they took it. A bigger dose, more shakes throughout the day, perfect timing right after a workout, none of it made a significant difference. It's like the benefit was there, but it hit a ceiling. It wasn't scalable. And that's the first little crack in that more is better idea.
Okay, so if more isn't clearly better for healthy older adults, what about for the sickest of the sick? Now we're going to raise the stakes and head into the intensive care unit, the ICU.
In the ICU, muscle wasting just goes into complete overdrive. We're talking patients losing around 2% of their muscle mass per day. This isn't the slow crawl of sarcopenia. This is a body literally eating itself to survive. So the logic seems super simple, right? If your body is burning through muscle that fast, you've got to fight fire with fire. You flood the system with high-dose protein to stop the bleeding, so to speak. I mean, it just makes perfect sense. Or does it? Well, this is where the story gets completely flipped on its head. A major 2024 analysis looked at this exact question, and the results were honestly stunning. When they compared higher protein doses to standard ones, they found little to no difference in whether patients lived or died. And get this, the higher protein was actually linked to a slight increase in how long patients stayed in the ICU and the hospital. So not only was more protein not helping, it might have been making things a tiny bit worse. What on earth is going on?
To solve this mystery, we need to meet the physiological villain of our story. It's a hidden process that happens deep inside a critically ill body.
It's a thing called anabolic resistance. And in plain English, it means that when your body is under extreme stress and inflammation, it kind of goes deaf to the muscle-building signals from protein. It's like, imagine a construction site during a 5-alarm fire. You can deliver all the bricks you want, but the crew is busy fighting the fire. They can't actually build anything.
And a study from 2022 showed just how bad this is. Researchers used these special tracers to literally watch where the protein was going. And what they found was wild. ICU patients had a 60% lower ability to actually get those amino acids into their muscles compared to healthy people. The fuel is there, but the engine is broken.
So we've established that high-dose protein is often just ineffective because of this anabolic resistance. But the story actually gets even darker, because for a specific group of these patients, it's not just useless, it's actively harmful.
And the crucial difference here all comes down to the kidneys. We have to split ICU patients into two groups, those without kidney problems and those with a really common complication called acute kidney injury,
or AKI.
Now, for the patients without that kidney injury, a 2024 review found a slight trend towards lower mortality with high protein. Now, it wasn't a slam dunk, the evidence wasn't totally conclusive, but it suggested there might be a small benefit, or, at the very least, no harm.
But for the patients with acute kidney injury, the same analysis found the exact opposite. High-dose protein was associated with a statistically significant increase in mortality. Just let that sink in for a second. The very treatment we thought was absolutely essential was actually linked with an increased risk of death in this specific group.
So why? Why the massive difference? Well, it all comes back to that anabolic resistance. If the body can't use all that extra protein to build muscle, it has to go somewhere. So it gets broken down into a waste product called urea. Now, healthy kidneys can filter that out no problem. But for an already injured, struggling kidney, that flood of urea creates a massive metabolic burden, one that can literally push it over the edge.
All of this just completely changes how we need to think about nutrition in the ICU. That old more is better, one-size-fits-all approach, it's clearly not just less than ideal, it can be downright dangerous. This demands a much, much smarter, more personalized strategy.
So what does that smarter strategy look like? Well, first, personalize the dose. You have to base it on the patient, especially their kidney function. Second, we need to monitor simple biomarkers, like the urea to creatinine ratio, to see if the body is actually using a protein we're giving it. Third, we have to fight that anabolic resistance directly by pairing nutrition with early physical rehab. And finally, we got to use better tools, like CT scans, to get a really accurate picture of a patient's muscle mass from day one.
So we kind of end up back where we started, but the question itself has totally changed. It's pretty clear now that just asking how much protein is the wrong question. The science is pointing us towards something more complex, but way more powerful. The real question is, for which patient, under which specific conditions, and at exactly what time? Answering that, that's the future of clinical nutrition.